The dragon cub's screams had been continuous for 47 hours. King Velthaxer of the Valerian Empire stood in the royal menagerie, watching with mounting frustration as handlers attempted to soothe the young dragon. The creature, barely 3 years old, already the size of a ground vehicle, thrashed and roared, spewing flames that scorched the reinforced walls of its containment chamber. "The beast is uncontrollable," the master of beasts declared, exhausted. "Perhaps we should consider euthanasia. It shows signs of psychological instability." "Absolutely not," the king said firmly. "This creature was a gift from the Theta Collective. Killing it would be an insult to our allies." His daughter, Princess Mara, stepped forward. "Father, perhaps it simply needs time to adjust. It's traumatized from the transport. We should give it patience, not force." Velthaxer waved dismissively. "Your sentiment does you credit, but sentiment doesn't solve problems. This cub needs discipline, not coddling." He paused, then added cruelly, "In fact, I'll wager you can't find anyone capable of calming this beast within the next week. If you fail, you'll accept the royal betrothal to Prince Raxthon. If you succeed, I'll grant you anything you ask." Mara's form darkened with anger. She despised the prince. The bet was cruel and deliberate. Her father's way of forcing her toward a marriage she'd explicitly refused. "You're on," she said coldly. She spent the next 3 days consulting with every expert in the kingdom. Beast tamers, psychologists, shamans, and healers. None of them could approach the dragon without risk of incineration. The cub seemed designed to reject every attempt at comfort. On the 4th day, desperate, Mara ventured into the lower districts where common workers lived. She found herself in a repair shop, watching a human mechanic work on a hovercraft engine with remarkable patience and focus. His name was David, and he barely looked up when the princess entered. "I need your help," Mara said without preamble. David finally glanced at her, assessed her royal attire, and returned to his work. "Unless you're here about your vehicle, I can't help you. There's a dragon cub. It's been screaming for days. No one can calm it. I have 6 days to succeed, or I lose everything." David set down his tools and studied her with surprising intensity. "Why me?" "Because everyone else has tried to control it," Mara said. "You seem to understand how things work. Not to dominate them, to work with them." David considered this, then grabbed his jacket. "Show me." At the menagerie, the dragon cub was mid-rampage, flames licking at the walls. David approached the containment chamber without fear, but also without aggression. He simply stood, watching, listening to the rhythm of the creature's distress. "It's not angry," he said quietly. "It's lonely and confused." He requested permission to enter the chamber. The master of beasts refused. Mara, using her royal authority, overrode him. David stepped into the chamber with nothing but his hands and his voice. He didn't try to touch the dragon. Instead, he began to speak, not commanding, but conversational. He told the creature about his own journey from Earth to this alien world, about missing home, about feeling displaced and scared in unfamiliar surroundings. The dragon cub stopped roaring. David sat down on the floor, completely vulnerable, and continued talking. He described the feeling of being far from everything you knew, of being forced into situations you didn't choose, of the terror of isolation. Slowly, incredibly, the dragon cub approached. It didn't attack. It lowered its massive head and sniffed David with curiosity. David remained perfectly still, allowing the creature to investigate. After several minutes, the dragon cub settled beside him, its breathing gradually slowing. Within an hour, the cub was sleeping, its head resting gently against David's leg. "King." Velthaxer watched in disbelief from behind the observation glass. "How did you do that?" Mara demanded when David emerged, exhausted but unharmed. "I stopped treating it like a problem to solve," David explained. "I treated it like a being that was suffering. I acknowledged its fear instead of trying to override it. Humans learned long ago that you can't force creatures into compliance, but you can create safety. You can create understanding. The dragon just needed to know it wasn't alone." Velthaxer appeared, his expression unreadable. "You've won your wager, daughter. Name your reward." "Mira smilit." I want David to stay as royal animal counselor, and I want him paid, respected, and given authority over all creature care decisions. No more force, no more dominance, only understanding. The king was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded. Done. Over the following years, David revolutionized how the Valerian Empire treated all creatures in their care. The dragon cub became not a trophy, but a beloved animal under his care. And Mara learned something about power that her father never understood. That true strength wasn't about control, but about the wisdom to listen, to empathize, and to work with others' nature rather than against it. Your species is strange, Velthaxer told David one day. How so? David asked. You're physically weaker than most beings in the galaxy, the king said. Yet somehow, you understand things we've forgotten. How to hear what others need. How to be patient. How to heal rather than dominate. David smiled. We had to learn. We're fragile. We survive by understanding, by adapting, by working together. Maybe that's the real superpower.